Hi, ladies and gents, my name is Tom Gibson, and today we are talking about how to connect with every student during distance learning. I will say that this is hard, no matter which way you go about it, but I'll share a few of the things that have worked with me in building those relationships virtually and students feeling seen and me just connecting with the kids even though I can't be there in the same room with them. So first thing you can do is greet every student by name when they come into the Zoom room. I've seen this said kind of everywhere that is talking about building relationships with students. One of the things that I used to do in the classroom that I'm continuing to do online is to have a new greeting for every day of the week, and it's an alliteration. Friday, to start with Friday, High Five Friday, you know, and I go high five to the camera, and I make the student turn their camera on and give me a high five to their camera, but it's High Five Friday. So every day is an alliteration. So Monday is, it's hard to come up with one that starts with M. Merry Mini Fist Bump Monday. And then I make them do a little fist bump with me to the camera. And if they do a full fist bump, I'm like, don't come at me with that full fist bump. It's just Monday. It's a mini fist bump. And then I say their name as well. Tuesday is Two Thumbs Up Tuesday. Happy Two Thumbs Up Tuesday. And then they have to turn their camera on and give me a happy Two Thumbs Up Tuesday. Wednesday is Happy Waving Wednesday. Thursday is Thankful Thursday, and what are you thankful for besides your friends and your family? Now, if you have a larger class, this may actually take a while, and so maybe you can have them do this in the chat where they can write down what they're thankful for, and then you read their name and read the chat out loud. Jeffrey is thankful for tacos, and Emily is thankful for the rain, and then you're just reading through. And then Friday, Happy High Five Friday. They gotta give me a high five to the camera, and I'm like, don't leave me hanging, don't leave me hanging, come on. And it's just a fun way to build some culture. It's a fun way to just say their name, to greet them every day. Beginning of the year, it's really fun because they're like, do you have something different for every day of the week? And I'm like, I do. And they're like, well, what's Thursday? I'm like, I guess you're gonna have to wait till Thursday to find out. So it's a fun thing to do. I did this in school and the kids loved it, and some of them were really looking forward to it. They're like, happy Two Thumbs Up Tuesday, Tom! You know, and then some kids are like, you know, give me two thumbs down. I'm like, no, my day's ruined because I got two thumbs down. And it's just a lot of fun. Greet students by name and make the greeting fun. You can use the ones I use. You can come up with your own. You can do the same greeting every day. You don't have to change it up, but just try to bring some energy, some excitement into that greeting. The second thing that you can do during class time, I kind of mentioned it with these greetings, is invite students to participate in the chat. If you have a larger class, it is really hard to keep track of everyone in there and who's participated and who hasn't. But a few times throughout the Zoom chat, ask a question that everyone is expected to write in the chat. Now, it's hard to know whether everyone actually did, so keep in mind the students that you're like, I kind of feel like they're disengaged, or I feel like they're more of my quiet students, and then look to see if they have put their chat in there. As the students are writing their chat, I say, okay, thank you, Jessica. Okay, thank you, Ela. Okay, thank you, Jason. And I say their name and I read what they wrote. So, okay, Marcus says this. Good point. I like that, Marcus. Jessica wrote this answer, this interesting point. Thank you, Jessica. And you're reading through it. And while you're waiting, if you know that some students haven't put theirs in, just say, okay, still just waiting on a few more students to put their answers into the chat. So please put it in the chat. Depending on the relationship with the students, sometimes if it's a student that I have a relationship with, but they are maybe a little bit distracted, I'm like, Greg, you good? You almost got your answer in the chat, or, you know, and I might call them out by name. But if it's like the quiet student that definitely does not want any attention drawn to them, calling them out by name maybe won't be the best strategy, but I will say like, okay, still waiting on a few people to put their answer. If you have not put your answer in the chat yet, please put your answer in the chat, and maybe even send a private message to that student. Hey, would love to hear what you have to say about this one. If it's like a question related to the content, you can say things like, it's okay if you don't know. If you don't know, put 3 question marks in front of your answer so I know, okay, this is kind of a guess, and that's fine. So you're creating and fostering an environment where it's okay to make mistakes when you're doing something like that. Ask students to engage in the chat every class period and then read their name and their response. There's something about hearing your name read and what you said that gives your students voice and lets them feel seen and heard. And my third tip for you today is an asynchronous way of connecting with every student, and that is is to use video responses. There's a couple apps that I've used in the classroom, one called Flipgrid and one called Loom. Flipgrid's a little bit more structured for a classroom where you can have your students respond with a video response to whatever prompt that you put, and there's a bunch of filters and effects, and it looks more like a social media than like an ed tech tool. In my science class, I did this as a get to know you activity where I asked the students to tell me something that they think a penguin would say if he walked in a room with a top hat, and I asked them to ask any scientific question that they had. They learned how to use Flipgrid, how to add the effects and all the layers and stuff like that, but the students left their videos, and then they can actually leave responses to one another, leave video responses. I think you can put text responses. You can add a time limit on how long their videos can be. They can edit them. So it's pretty nice. It's all in one. And you, of course, can also leave your own video response. The other app that I use is called Loom. I made a video on this earlier in the school year on how to actually use Loom to create video lessons that I will link to. But the way that I've been using Loom is in my advisory. In advisory, the students every 2 weeks will send an email to me and their parents responding to a few questions that I have. Sometimes it's like, what's your favorite class right now and why? Sometimes there are fun questions like, what's your favorite restaurant in Austin? There was a question this past week that I added that was like, is there any area of your life that you kind of wish that your parents were either more involved in or less involved in? And I had the students actually create a Loom video to answer those questions, and then they emailed that video to me and their parents. And whenever I receive that email, I reply all to that email with my own Loom video response to them. Like, oh, I love that you are into upcycling where you take this old denim and then you do this spray paint stuff and create something new. Or I love that you are enjoying art class right now. Or I love that restaurant too. Or I've never been to that restaurant. And for me, I love making videos. I just feel it's faster and easier. It's like a 1-minute video response that I send to the students. But I had one student tell me, it's like, it felt like I was watching like a YouTube video, but it was made just for me. And that was really cool, you know? And so the students kind of feel that you are taking your time to make a video just for them. And that means a lot. I think it speaks louder than a written email response, which is what I used to do with these weekly updates. They were just written emails that the students sent to me and their parents, and then I would respond with my own written response. And I could tell sometimes that the students never read those written responses, but to know that a video was made for them and it's a short video, it helps to build that relationship. It helps to connect with the students. It helps them to feel seen, even though it is happening asynchronously. And for you as the teacher, sometimes that's the first time you're really hearing the students if they're not speaking up in class very much. And so I love video as a way of connecting with my students, both the students submitting videos to me and me responding to the students. So those are 3 ways to connect with every student in your class, from greeting them by name every day when they come into Zoom, to asking them to engage in the chat and reading their name and their response, to using video so students can communicate to you and you can communicate back to them. On that note, if you are doing video lessons for your students, I have a course that I've created for teachers. It's a course that takes about 1 hour to get through. It's like 10 or so videos. Each of them is about 5 minutes long, and it takes you through the process of planning your videos, creating your videos, and assigning and assessing your videos. I created it with the teacher in mind. That's like, this whole video thing is super daunting. I don't really know where to get started. I don't have time to learn like this fancy editor, and I'm not gonna buy this fancy camera. I show you how to do all of this using free software, and if you don't wanna spend any money, how to use the tools that you have already most effectively. I'll link to the course down in the description of this video, but you can also go to tomgibson.com/distance learning to enroll in the course. My name is Tom Gibson. I hope you learned something today that will help you make more meaningful and memorable experiences for your students, even if you are doing distance learning. If you like this video, like it. If you want to stay in the loop with future videos, subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.